What's going on, guys? My name is Rano, and for the entire month of May, I've been using this as my phone. This is the CAT S22, and yes, the same cat that makes these things. Turns out they made a phone, and to be honest, it's actually pretty good. I'll get more into the technical stuff later on, like specs and such, but let me get this part out of the way first. This is the first thing that pretty much everyone has asked me when I pulled this thing out of my pocket. Like, why am I using a flip phone willingly in 2024? Why am I choosing to use this thing? And, you know, I have a couple reasons for this, but the main one being that I wanted to reduce my screen time. You know, I'm sure you've heard this point brought up before by other creators, but the amount of time that people are spending on their smartphones now is actually kind of crazy. Like, I think at one point I was averaging around like 6 to 7 hours every day just using my phone, and to be honest, I kind of just got tired of it. And obviously I didn't have to go this extreme just to spend less time looking at something, but I know that already. That's why I said I have a couple reasons. Come on now. And I already tried some other options like turning on the grayscale filter, making it harder to get to certain apps, dialing those home screen launchers that make everything look really minimal and just the names of the apps and there's no icons, but none of those options really worked for me in the long run. It felt more like a nuisance than an assistance. So now we're here. And if I'm being completely honest here, I also kind of just wanted it for the aesthetic. Like, I've already been using an MP3 player to listen to music. If you follow me on Instagram, you know about the MP3 already. I even got this Lumix from 2006 that I've been using as my main camera for taking pictures. I had a 2002 Pentax that I was using before, and I loved that camera as well, but the problem with that one is it couldn't really do video that well. It was no audio and it was really shoddy frame rate, but I also could only take like a handful of pictures on it before having to back it up on account of it using a 16 megabyte compact flash card. Let's see how many people know what that is. So I feel like on account of my technological regression, it really only made sense for me to end up here. And this isn't my first time with a flip phone either. I tried using one from Walmart last year for some time, but it didn't have any of the features that I actually needed, so that one didn't really last too long. But staying on the topic of features, let's get technical for a minute. So you're looking at the S22 Flip from CAT. It's running Android 11 Go with a Snapdragon 215 processor with a whopping 2 gigabytes of RAM and 16 gigs of internal memory with a micro SD card slot for up to 128 gigabytes of expandable memory. The screen's a whole 2.8 inches and you can in fact touch it. With a beautiful 480 by 640 resolution, it makes viewing content one of the experiences ever. And it's built to last. This thing's freaking tough. It's got IP68 dust and water resistance, and it's even MIL STD 810H compliant for whatever that's worth. Basically, I'm saying you don't gotta worry about this thing breaking easily. I mean, these guys made earth-moving equipment. Now onto the cameras, they're actually not as bad as you think. It's got a 5 megapixel lens on the back camera, and you can even shoot up to 1080p. I'll probably have some examples of what those look like on the screen right now. And as for the inner camera, she's only 2 megapixels and can only do 720p video, but that still is not bad by any means. Again, I'll probably have some examples going on the screen while I'm talking. Yeah, I don't really like the front one a lot, actually. Yeah, wait, the front video camera kind of sucks. I immediately turned on developer settings and set all the animations to 0 to speed it up, and I think that was probably the best decision I could have made. The loading times with most apps is really what slows this thing down. I mean, there's some apps that I have to open minutes in advance before I want to use it. But aside from all that, with how little I actually do on this phone, and I'll get more into that in a minute, it runs pretty smooth, all things considered. It's a little bit annoying sometimes, but still gets the job done. Which brings us to the job at hand. How practically useful is a flip phone in modern society? Surprisingly, very much so. Like I said earlier, the S22 Flip runs Android, albeit a slightly outdated version, but Android nonetheless. So I still have access to the entire Google Play Store and a bunch of other smartphone features, which really was a major deciding factor when actually buying this thing. And in case I hadn't mentioned the price yet, it ran me about $100 on Amazon. I knew I wanted the flip phone form factor, but there was too many modern features that I actually needed on a smartphone. So this one's kind of the best of both worlds, no Hannah Montana. The biggest things for me really was I just needed to have certain apps like WhatsApp, Uber, and my banking app, for example. And this runs all those perfectly. Now mind you, the Uber app is a little bit slow. It takes about a minute to open before it actually will open. But I have called Ubers on this phone before and it works, that's all I can say. I mean, in theory, someone could buy this phone today and use it just like they would their smartphone. You can get all the apps on here. You can have Spotify, you can have Instagram, you can have everything else that you would want on it, just very inconveniently. And I think that's kind of been my theme here, to be honest. Like, Again, I'm using a 2006 digital camera to take pictures instead of my phone. I'm using this instead of my fully functioning, nothing wrong with it, it still works. I'm using it to read this script smartphone. And I literally have a CD player, a portable CD player in my pocket right now. Like, there is no reason for me to be carrying all of this. I could do all of this stuff on one device. But that's one of the other reasons why I've been using this flip phone and why I decided to use a flip phone in the first place is I want to be more intentional. I want to be more in the moment, more connected, but not in that way. And to put it kind of bluntly, I just want to enjoy life more. And just in case you guys were wondering, since I mentioned my screen time earlier, it's been less than an hour consistently, pretty much every day on this phone. There's a couple days where it'd go over an hour, but that's because I was spending a lot of time messaging people and checking transportation and things of that nature, you know, actually using this phone. And, you know, originally I was only gonna stick with it for a month. I was only gonna use it for the month of May and then probably just go back to using my smartphone like regular. But I think the fact that I've had so many people ask about it and I've had so many people, you know, tell me reasons why I shouldn't be, reasons why just use a normal smartphone. It's way easier, it's way more convenient, you'll be able to actually do things. I think that's what's been motivating me to actually stick with it. I even put a Thrasher sticker on the back there to cover up the back plate so I can't take it off now. I mean, I could take it off, but I'd have to take off the sticker and I don't want to ruin a good sticker, come on now. Now I will say this as well, I have had some people tell me that calls tend to not go through on this phone. Like, I've had some people call me and they told me it went straight to voicemail sometimes, but I've received calls, I've made calls, I've personally had no issues with it. If anyone else is using this phone and has had that issue of not being able to receive calls sometimes, let me know in the comments how or if you were able to resolve that, because that's really my biggest gripe with this thing right now. But yeah, that's pretty much the long and short of it. I've been using a flip phone for so far a month and some change, and I still can and do use social media from time to time. I just do it on my laptop now, so there's that extra step of me having to actually think about opening the website. Even though it has its faults, and admittedly it is kind of crazy to pull out this thing in 2024 as your main phone. You know, I had to learn how to type with T9, trying to find the letter on the numpad and click it so many times, and it takes like 2 minutes to send just a basic text message. But even in saying all that, I don't know if I want to go back. There are of course some features that I do miss from my smartphone, like I said, being way faster to type on and being able to watch content on the go at any time. So I feel like realistically what I'm going to end up doing is I still have my smartphone with me. Like I said, I was using it to read the script for the first half of this video. So I'll likely just use that as exactly that, a device to consume media on the go. But I'll have to download some shows on it or something, or some movies or what have you. And even then, I have a portable DVD player that I could lug around with me as well if I really want to go that route. But I think I'm going to save all that for another video. If you guys want to know more about what it's like to use this camera as my main photography / taking videos device, or why I have this thing in my pocket, feel free to let me know in the comments and I'll definitely make a video talking about it. But with that being said, and with that all out of the way, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like down below and in a comment telling me, would you use a flip phone in 2024 given the reasons that I listed, or what would your reasons be for switching to this? Also, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already and hit the bell so you're notified every time I upload a new video. And as always, thanks for watching and I will see you guys next time.